I said, Lord, just let me marry people, because Floyd's the first person I'm going to call. Because by sundown of that... I told Cecil, I said, tell Floyd he's the water guy.
That must be Floyd and Cecil.
That's Stacy.
Yeah, it's Stacy. I think that must be the
Big tumblers, I agree.
everybody in and all the arrangements made. The auctioneer, his crew are, they are being served next door. So, maybe we shouldn't feed them till they get through their job, should we? But has everybody found that place? Well, we'll ask Cliff Ball if he will give the lesson, please. Let us pray. Gracious God, for our friends, for our families, and for wholesome food, we give you our thanks. For our Carnival Glass hobby, for good humor, and for our health, we give you our thanks. be with all of our Carnival Glass friends who, because of illness or bereavement, are unable to be with us this evening. Give them your healing or your peace. Grant us all safety on the road or in the air as we return to our homes. May we take with us many pleasant memories of these days that we have spent together. Amen.
Carnival Glass Club in Fort Lauderdale, that area. Richard Sinclair is here, the president of the ICGA. Are you, Richard? I think, Blackie, aren't you the president of the Pacific Northwest? Blackie Scholes, the president of the Pacific Northwest. And I believe Judy Maxwell, Judy here, she's the president of the Pacific. And Dale Westfall, I think, is the president of the Southern California.
You got it back.
Okay, well, you ladies can take it out. Tom is he's the editor of Lincoln Land, and what are you? I mean, the editor of the HOACGA, and he's something in Lincoln Land.
Let me help you out here a little bit, Bob.
Okay?
I'm the editor of the American Carnival Glass Association along with my wife Sharon. And I'm the treasurer of Lincoln Land.
Okay.
And the vice president of the HOACGA.
Oh, the WWCGA, Brian Pittman. Is Brian here? Is there any others that, oh. The Foreigner. Which club? I think you said that this year you were going to be having a convention, your first convention? Oh, okay, all right. That's the English-speaking Carnival Club group. Any other organizations? Air Capital. Any other? Well, we're glad that you're here, and we say that we wish you well and continued success of your organization. I thought that I talked last night, spoke last night to Cooley Miller, who used to be president of American HOACGA. I don't know, is Cooley here? Cooley? Yeah. Cooley served as president for 8 or 10 years of HOACGA. Glad to have you here. You're looking better, Cooley. And also, there's a lady here that his husband was the first president of HOACGA at Bicycle. Will you stand by? See, she has her arm wrapped up. I think you broke her hand the other day, didn't you? Glad to have you here, Vi. Well, again, we would like to recognize Tom and Sharon Morlini, recipients this year of the John Lucille Britt Award of Excellence in Carnival Glass. Again, we'd like to recognize them, Tom and Sharon. I think most everyone is back now. The table after the centerpiece on the table was provided by Ann Morris and Fred Stone. I don't know whether Brian had anything to do with that or not, but I think Ann and Fred did that. So we thank you for that. And at this time, we'll try to determine a way of giving that centerpiece away. And what we're going to do is that someone, I'm going to write down a number now, and you can start at the table, start someplace and start number off at each table. 6. Want to have that picture. We always like to, always willing to help here at the convention. That Ed Kramer, Ed is always in charge of the silent auction. And so thank you, Ed, for that effort and work. Ed is not sick. He just decided to lose some weight. So I was going to say, well, Ed must be sick. I lost all the weight, but he isn't. He just is a bachelor and he couldn't eat in McDonald's. I think that's the main reason that happened. So again, thank you, Ed, for that. Room display award. Room displays, as all of you know and see every year, that is a very vital part of this convention and a vital part of any convention. It's a place that people get to see some very nice pieces of Carnival and see a lot of ingenuity that people put forward to bring their display, and we appreciate it very much that every effort is made, and I know that everyone seems to enjoy the room display. As always, Jerry and Carol Curtis volunteer to be kind of the people that take care of that effort, and they use the sign-up sheet this year. People volunteered to do the judging for them, and I think they used 7 people this year to do the judging. So now we have the results of that, and we want to thank Jerry and Carol for your effort in doing that. And did everyone now get their little hobnail spittoons that we give away for all of the room displays? Did everyone get one that had a room display? I don't see any hands that didn't get any, so I guess you've got it on. So again, I'll read off the winners, and the winner this year for the same color in room number 330 is Pete and Paula Bingham. And for the same shape, room 205 with Gail Eichhorst. And the winner in the category of the same pattern was Reg and Linda Dunham. And the winner for the one that's the same maker is in room 332, Dick and Jenny Hostetler. Did you get rid of all the Miller beer, Dick? Then for rarity is in room 727, Stacy and Debbie Wells. And the winner for the theme in room 321 is Don and Linda Grizzle. How come you got that money, Don? I thought Linda did the work.
She told me I had to.
again, we congratulate all the winners, and we congratulate everybody that brought and set up their room display. It's a very nice educational part of the convention. Then again, we would like to also recognize those that gave the educational program, the ones that came all the way from England, and Steve and Glenn Thistlewood. I've had an opportunity the last couple of years in putting together the 5th and 6th base section, where I've included a lot of the non-U.S. patterns, communicating with Glenn quite often, and I send her all of these odd pictures that no one can identify, and ask her if she knows we made those. So she's always very prompt. So I can always send an email about 10 o'clock at night, and the next morning I have an answer to that. So we really appreciate that, Glenn, your efforts in providing that information for us. Then we also, the bashful ones, Dorothy Newman Morgan, for the student display. I know that we all enjoyed the talks, enjoyed the displays, enjoyed seeing the glass, and hearing the information pertaining to that subject. So, again, we appreciate your bringing the glass, getting the other people, bringing those people that brought glass for both displays. We thank you for responding to the request and providing glass for everybody to see. And you want to circle the wheel there, and we'll draw for the pre-registration draw. Give that Charlie there. That's the job Charlie now.
Floyd and Cecil Whitley.
You have to take it. We are not going to ship it. You can go ahead and carry it to show us what you. It's just a box of boxes.
Thank you.
We got one of the printed signature pieces there. And again, Ann, I know Ann appreciates everybody that's sending in their pre-registration, because it does take a lot of the effort off of during the convention, and the packets are ready, and she can sit home and have Fred and Brian help her fix those up. So we do appreciate your sending the pre-registration. Good. 28 states. And 1, 2, 3. John Milbauer, are you here? Would you like to introduce your guest that you have with you?
Yeah, I'd like to introduce a man that I met on the internet, who's Whitman. He's one of my best friends down in Wales, William Jones.
We're very glad to have you with us. John, usually that women are saying that they met the man on the internet. Well, I would like to introduce the head table here on my left. Of course, Tim Morris is the secretary of the club. And all the information that comes in, news, everything that comes in comes to her, and she gets over that, record it, and then she takes care of that and keeps the record of that. So we do appreciate her efforts and all the things she does. Next we have Charles and Eleanor Mopel. Eleanor is the bulletin secretary, the one who receives your information every month and gets it together and takes it over to the printer and has it put together and then gets it out. That is an effort that, if you put together a bulletin, if it gets out on they finish it up about the 5th, 6th or 7th of the month and start getting it and getting things ready to start putting together next month. So we do appreciate her efforts of getting that information. And, down on my far right, Cliff and Joanne Ball. Cliff is the treasurer and he does an outstanding job of keeping track of the money received. He receives the money from Ann and then records it to get to the bank and makes a monthly reporting of the treasurer's report. And since he has been there, we haven't lost a penny. And then next is Gene Cox. We haven't seen much of Gene. I think he came up to the convention and has been sick ever since he got here. So he's been kind of laid up and has felt good. We're glad to have Gene at least be with us this evening, but he has been feeling bad. But thank you, Gene, for coming by to see the vice president. And the next is my wife who puts up with me and hollers down at the other night, wants to know if I want any ice cream or coffee or something, and brings it down when I'm staying most of the day, the evenings on the computer or answering the telephone or something. So I appreciate her efforts and her patience of putting up with me and my wife. Well, we didn't come here to hear a bunch of announcements. It is always a pleasure to have our speakers. I think they have been attending the convention for 15 years. They've been involved in Carnival Glass. They were very instrumental in the starting of the Texas Club and have been instrumental in improving and helping finance and everything else at the Texas Club. And got it off to start and with the success that it enjoys today. And they have, I guess I've been, like to consider that they were my friends for several years. And when you went to Texas and had the meetings and the conventions in Texas, we always got that very good welcome from them. They always had their open house at their house for everybody that showed up and wanted to come by, and I'm sure that if you're in Houston, Texas, and you want to go to their open house, their house will be open most any day that you're there. Just give them a call. They've been very gracious, and most anybody that passed through and was interested in seeing their collection, and they had a very outstanding collection. And did not, they disposed of some of it to an auction about 2-3 years ago here, and but they still have a house full of glass after their big auction they had here. So I know that we all have enjoyed their hospitality and their friendship. And they were both speaking this evening, and I said earlier that Cecil will be given the education, and then Floyd will be given the talk. So I'm sure that we will enjoy. I know that you all know them, and we all appreciate them, and we really appreciate your being here with us today. And we've got to get some things wired up and changed around here for a few minutes for the talk, but we'll turn the program now over to Floyd and Cecil, and we'll have to get wired up here for sound and whatever we need to do. So, Floyd and Cecil, thank you.
When Bob and I were talking last year about banquet speakers, he kind of, and who he might or might not have to draft. I told Bob, I said, you know, Bob, I feel like I'm heading for the rest home pretty fast. If you're going to latch on to me, you better get with me. I said, okay, with me, I think. Because Bob, I had my first big rest home symptom about a couple of months ago. Cecil sent me down to, am I saying the picture? Cecil sent me down to Quarters to get her a gallon of 0.5% milk. I always stand there for a little while in front of the quarter milk rack. You know, got quarters here. You always hear those cows breathing. But what gets me is I like to stand there and ponder about what the Aggies have done to the cows since I was a kid. They've got them on 0.5%, 1%, 2% and all. Must be pretty tough on the old cow. I was standing there minding my own business when the neighborhood busybody come walking by, circled me about 3 times, stepped off to one side and pulled out a little purple cell phone and started dialing the number. Me being kind of nosy, I leaned over to see what she was going to do. The first thing she said was, Cecil, your big mouth husband is standing down here in front of the Kroger milk rack with his pants unzipped. I nearly dropped dead. She said, Cecil wants to talk to you. So Cecil said, good grief, get over behind the potato chip rack and zip up and come on home. I'll come get my own milk. So Bob, you just, you know, I was proud of me. When Charlie Mokel found out that Cecil and I were going to give a talk, and Charlie said, hey, we've been up, you know, to our eyeballs with Carnival Glass. Don't get up there, do something different. for just one time, put on some kind of a program to where that you don't get up there with a bunch of Carnival Glass. And he said, if you do, I'm going to go to sleep and you can hear me snoring all over the banquet hall. I said, well, Charlie, I'll do the best I can. We'll try to put together something over there. I called on Rodney Jackson. Rodney Jackson over a little old monkey act from somewhere in Central Texas. He said, I want you to check this out, will you? I don't know much about it, but we'll get Cecil to give him an audition. And if they pan out, I might make it pretty good. So at the appointed time, while the door knocked, and we opened the door, there was a well-dressed monkey, a well-dressed gentleman with two little fuzzy monkeys. They had a little red jacket on, and on each of the little panels it said, vote for Al Gore. Cecil started to kind of swell up a little bit. I said, settle down, little gal. There's going to be more of these monkeys voting for Al Gore than they are for George Bush. And they certainly did. Anyway, they came in and they started their little act, and right away I could see that this little old monkey act was designed more for maybe a Shriners convention and not for Carnival Glass. And it wasn't long until Cecil pulled out a 45 pistol and marched them all out the door. I dearly love to tell you a little more about that monkey act, but the same person that pulled the 45 on them monkeys is holding that same gun on me right now. So anyway, there went a super act for the Carnival Glass deal, Charlie. I let you down there a minute. Then I happened to think about Joyce Seal. Joyce Seal is a Pawnee Indian. Back on the reservation in Oklahoma, she was well known for a little eagle feather dance. She had this eagle feather dress, and they would dance around, and it was quite artistic. And I said, well, I'll call Joyce and see if she will get up here and do her eagle feather dance. Joyce, and Joyce said, look, Whitley, it's been a many years since I had that little eagle feather dress on. It would take 10 more eagles to let that thing out. She said, you know, you're an endangered species, so that's how she said, I'll tell you what I will do. If you stand up there and flap your big So anyway, that kind of went, that went by the wayside there. You know, we've got a great judge down in Texas. She just, I mean, we all admire her. She gave a program here, the mighty good one. Dorothy, they don't have any traffic problems in Dorothy's County. She keeps about half the people in jail. So I went to Dorothy and I said, let's have a good old mock trial. You know, I mean, you hear those things, people do a mock trial, and that'll be something different. We don't have to drag a bunch of Carnival Glass. I said, what do you got in mind? And I said, well, I'll tell you what. Let's try Tom Burns for being ugly. Still see it no better. We'll get a little old jury. If we can find a couple of lawyers or find a couple of people that admit to being lawyers, we'll just have us a good old trial. And Dorothy said it never worked. I said, why? She said, because he'd jump up and plead insanity and I'd have to turn him loose in a minute.
That happened today.
And she said, Caitlin was out of the house looking over the glass, not too long ago. And they awfully admired, I have to call security guard when they get around that blue people place. Anyway, I said, it's well known, Paula used to be a stage actress. And she had a good little routine where she'd get up and dance on the stage and sing some of the little Dolly Parton's old songs. I said, I was asking Pete and Paul, I said, that'd be good if we could get her up there and do that. That would make a good program for everybody. Let her get up and imitate old Dolly Parton. Pete said, Whitney, she's lost her voice and she's got a bad ankle. I just don't believe she can do it. But he said, I'll tell you what, if you'll sell us that Blue People's Place, I'll get her up there topless and let her whistle a few little bit. I made a lunch for the People's Place and essentially Tommy Tackle League. You could have had a heck of a program for that. So, Charlie, I've done the best. Sleep, trying to keep the flies stand off of him, Eleanor. But we're going to have to put out a little Carnival Glass here. We've got a little keepsake shit in here. Cecil is talking about the little tumblers, and then I will come and do something with the beautiful people places. So we'll try to blend it in to where it's just as smooth as we possibly can. So Cecil, if you'll take over.
Can you hear me back there? Jackie Poucher, can you hear me? Emmett, can you hear me?
I'll always hear you, sweetheart.
Okay. I just want you to know that you better listen. Because you're going to have a test over this. Let me tell you why I'm here. Usually it's Floyd that gets up and starts doing the talking, and I absolutely refuse. But about 2 or 3 months ago, we were listening to the news on the Tom Brokaw program. And this bulletin came across, and it said, Richard Sinclair has cut off his ponytail. So, I looked over and Floyd was just sobbing. And I said, Floyd, what in the world is the matter? And he said, well, you know how I like to talk. And you know that Richard's ponytail is a big part of all my programs. And now I won't have anything to say. So I looked at him and I said, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. I'm going to fill in with my tumblers for a section of the program that Richard will not be filling anymore. And I said, if anybody is crazy or desperate enough to ask you to speak, I will fill in with some tumbler talk, so here I am. You can blame Richard if you don't like this part. If I could talk as fast as Dorothy Morgan, the judge, my speech would only be 3 minutes long, but I can't speak that fast, so here I go. When I told Tom Ordini about this tumbler program, he suggested that I bring all 780 tumblers and talk about each one of them, and then all of you could go to sleep and get some much needed rest. Thanks, Tom. I knew better than to do that. I only brought 400. On to the tumblers, serious business. Now, what are the reasons for collecting tumblers? There are many reasons. They're easy to display, and they take less room than almost anything except the miniatures. There's so many beautiful colors and patterns. There's an endless supply, an endless opportunity for setting goals in your collecting. Right now, my goal is a marigold frolicking bear tumbler. Anybody have one? Why are there so many tumblers? Because all of the water sets had at least 6 tumblers to go with them. And water sets were very popular in the Carnival Glass days. And many of the patterns have at least 10 colors. Oriental poppy and grape arbor, and some of the others have many, many colors. Then there are many patterns that have variants. For example, there's the collar base and the ground base tumblers in the same pattern. Some tumblers have the inside, the interior plain, and some with ribs. The example of that's the luster rose, and the dandelion, the oriental poppy, and many others. There are similar patterns, but different companies. For example, over here on the, I have 2 drapery patterns. One is the drapery, and one is the drapery variant. The drapery pattern is American, and it's not, let's see, what did you say, Glenn? It's un-American or non-United States or non-American? And the other one is non-American. The other drapery, the marigold one, is not an American tumbler. There's also the orange tree, footed orange tree tumbler that has a cable at the top. Most of them have cables at the top, but there are about 6 or 7 that have no cable, and they're very hard to come by. It's a rare collection, of course, that has one of those in it, because they're just not around. Look for I'm sure a lot of them are overlooked, so watch for the smooth top footed orange tree as you go around looking. How many of you have one? The footed orange tree without the cable. One back to back. Okay. There are many sizes in some of the tumblers, so that adds to the number you need to collect to have all the tumblers. People have, from early times in Carnival Glass, have ranked tumblers in rarity, in desirability, and in beauty. During the days of O.J. Olson and Richard Owens in the early days of Carnival Glass collecting, they also selected their top 10 or their most important tumblers. But that's remained fairly constant down through the years, but some new finds that have come about since then have occurred that would change the ranking somewhat. For example, I would not include the Espertise tumbler, the God and Home tumbler, Quill, the White Oak, and the top 20, as was done by Owens in '72. They're all still rare, but they would not probably come in the top 20 or even the top 40. To list the top 10 tumblers is just almost impossible because it changes from week to week. I've attempted to bring you 10 seldom seen, pretty, desirable, and most of all, important, that they're all American made. No non-American tumblers are included up here except the drapery, but not in the top 10. I could have shown you the Morning Glory, and there was one in the auction this morning, and I thought it went very well. A beautiful tumbler, I guess probably the prettiest one I've ever seen. And I understand it's going to another Carnival collector who probably has the second best tumbler collection in the country. This gives you a chance to brag, see? I could have shown the morning glory, the perfection, the bucket fruits, the hump nail, and the burning chisel, which are all very beautiful and expensive tumblers, but they can be seen in many of your advanced collections. These are the ones that meet all the criteria that I've named, and most of them are the only ones known. Now, you have to be very careful when you talk about the only ones known, because tomorrow they may not be the only ones known. Very, very definitely. It happens to us a lot. For example, this is the Frolic and Bear tumbler. I don't know if you can see it from the back. I tried to get it enlarged enough. I didn't realize there'd be this many people here. Anyway, you can come up and see these tumblers in person later, but I'm trying to show you a little bit. Most of these here. Frolic and Bear tumbler was made by the U.S. Glass Company. It was the only one known until the 80s. 6 are known now. It has commanded a price up to $15,000. We acquired ours from Sam Roebuck when it was the only one known. And he had it for several months, and he kept tantalizing us with this tumbler. Floyd decided just before Christmas he really wanted that tumbler. So he and Sam talked, and Sam said, you come over to North Carolina. North Carolina. You come over to North Carolina to Elizabeth City, and y'all spend the night with us, and we'll have a nice visit, and we'll see about trading about this Frolic and Bear tumbler. You don't know how much I wanted that. We went up there. They did a lot of visiting and not much talking about Carnival Glass. It made me very nervous. And anyway, finally, Sam said, tell you what I'll do. I'll give you this Frolic and Bear tumbler, this Peachople farmyard bowl, which is the only one known, and this green people's base for $33,000. Now remember, this was in '78, and that was a lot of money then. It was a lot of money now. But anyway, after we painted and got up on the floor, cried a little bit, we accepted it, and we brought them back to Houston on a Greyhound bus. Recently, after these others have been found now, you remember now this was the only one then, and after these others were found, 5 or 6 of them, we know of one that sold for $13,000. I don't know what the others have sold for. So that's the Frolic and Bear tumbler, and it's still holding. This is the big butterfly tumbler. This was also made by U.S. Glass, and the U.S. Glass Company. John Britt said at one time that this was the most famous piece of glass in America. This marigold is the only one known. It's the only one known who we bought it. It's still the only one known in spite of what there have been some articles that said that there are several of those, but we have not been able to. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Let's remember that at the time that we bought this was the only one known, and it's still the only one known. There have been 4 green ones found, and those green ones are the same color as the Frolic and Bear tumbler. And as I've already said, both are made by U.S. Glass. The 4 green ones like this were found in the 80s, and they started selling like wildfire. John sold us this one in '78 for $5,500. Recently, one of these sold for $10,000, with there being 4 of them. So it's very peculiar how these things work out. The sale of this tumbler broke up John Britt's fabulous tumbler collection, and he said it broke his heart. I think he felt better as he went to the bank. We also went to the bank, but not to make a deposit. Anyway, these 2 tumblers made us serious tumbler collectors, as we flirted with bankruptcy for the next 25 odd years. Personally, I'm torn between the Frog and Bear and the Big Butterfly for the #1 tumbler. The marigold butterfly has better color and is rarer. The Frog and Bear has finer design, and more has been written about it than possibly any other piece of Carnival Glass. It has a mystique not often found. There are prettier examples than this one. But this one is the one with the history. It was the only one known for many, many years, and it's very special to us. Anyway, you can decide for yourselves which of these is #1, or is it neither? This is the bouquet tumbler. Very special tumbler. I hope you can see from back there, and if you can't, be sure and come up after the program to see the real ones and the pictures. As you know, the competition is found among people of all ages and all walks of life. Carnival Glass collecting is no exception. At auctions, we see Roy HOACGA sitting on the front row bidding. And you know why this nice man is sitting up there? Is because he can't bear to bid against his friends, I think. And we see Joyce Seal on the back row, who has no problem with that. But she sits back there so she can size up her competition. How many times did it happen that you got into a bidding contest, maybe today, and paid too much for a piece of glass? True story, Richard. When Richard tells a story that is rather questionable, he always says, true story. This really is a true story. Speaking of competition, when I was principal of elementary school in the 60s, we had the little boys' restroom was right across the hall from the principal's office. And one day, this teacher stomped into my office, with her red hair flaming, and she was furious. She said, "Miss Whitley, do you know what my boys were doing in the restroom?" They always walk to the restroom with the little boys to make sure it doesn't happen. And I said, "No, Mary Lou, what were they doing?" She said, "They were having a contest to see who could urinate the furthest up on the wall in the restroom." And I said, "Well, what did you do, Mary Lou?" She said, "I hit the ceiling." And I said, "Well, you won, didn't you?" Competition can put spice into most everything if you don't carry it too far. Anyway, this beautiful tumbler came up for sale in an auction. I decided that the competition was going to be too great for that. In fact, I just took a defeatist attitude. The competition's going to be too great, and besides that, it's probably not that pretty. It was really beautiful in the brochure, but it probably isn't that pretty, so I just forgot about it. Several nice people in Carnival Glass called and said, we really needed to have that tumbler in our collection. That's where it belongs. So Floyd dragged himself over to the phone and he called Bob Gallo, who was a good friend of ours and who was going to this auction, and asked him would he bid. And he called him and he got his answering service, and he said, would you, Bob, if you go to this auction, would you bid up to $1,000 for us on this bouquet tumbler in Persian blue, the only one known. And so naturally Bob had already gone to the auction, and after he came back and got the message, he called us and said, you know, this tumbler really belongs in your collection, and I'm going to let you have it for the $700 that I paid for it at the auction. And so we didn't have to pay the $1,000. We got the tumbler, and what a nice man Bob Gallo was, as all of you remember. This is one of the reasons that we enjoy Carnival Glass so much, is because of the people that are involved, and there's just endless numbers of people that have done nice things for us like that. This is a beautiful tumbler and one that I treasure. It's the only one known in this color, and I consider it one of the great finds of this decade. Now this one is the heavy iris, and I'm sorry we got a little problem with the color here, but that's supposed to be ice blue. And if you see the ice blue over there, you can tell it really is ice blue. It was made by Dugan, and it's the only one known. And it has a nice feel about it. It's a heavy tumbler, and it's substantial. The pastel marigold is beautiful in this pattern, and Bill Carroll understand how to set water set in that, and they said it was a sight to behold. This is the Gay 90s tumbler. This is a fairly recent acquisition, and it's the only one known in this color. John Britt would have loved to have seen this tumbler, but he never did. It was found by Stacy Wills, and I don't know when, but when we found out he had it, we started nagging at him, and we finally got it. Now, you know, Stacy tells his story that he got all these scars and everything. You know Stacy? Stacy's right back there. He said he was hunting a deer on a motorcycle. And got all these skins on his face. Well, what really happened is when I want a tumbler, I want it bad. Gay 90s has always been included in most anybody's top 10 or 20 tumblers. But the discovery of this green one is just absolutely fantastic. Be sure and take a look at it when you go over there. The next one is the plums and cherries. This was found by Paul Ennis at a flea market in Dallas. Carried it around for 3 years at every convention and every auction, showing it to me, and we would make him an offer and he'd say, not interested. So we aggravated him for about 3 years. He aggravated us for about 3 years, and then he decided to get married, and he needed some honeymoon money, so he takes off on his, he would rather have a honeymoon than on this beautiful summer. So he offered to sell it to us, and he did, and we bought it, and it was great. We were really happy to have it. It's the only one known at this time. But just like the hold on number one is always tenuous, there's a rumor that there's another one out there. And pretty soon maybe it'll turn up if you're any of your tumbler collectors. I don't think it hurts anything for there to be 2 or 3 of a tumbler because it gives them, you get more publicity and more people can have them and it makes them further interesting. This was a great find. It has the characteristics of the springtime, the Oriental poppy, and the peach tumblers. Made by Northwood, and it's different because it has 2 distinct designs, plums on one side and cherries on the other. This is the Northwood Near Cut, or the stretched diamond and half star. It's, as the name indicates, it was made by Northwood, and this is the only purple one known. There are 5 or 6 in marigold, so you see you can't have many collections with those in them. I have the, I don't know if I brought the marigold or not, but anyway, you can look over there and see. But, okay, there are several marigolds, 5 or 6. The pattern is usually in the top 10, and the discovery of the purple one ensures that it'll stay there. This is the Jewel Heart by Dugan. And it's in white, and it's the only one known in white. And we were fortunate enough to have the Leonards make us an offer, and they would trade us that for a Lotus Land Gold, and we did it. And we're happy, and I think they're happy. So that is the only white Jewel Heart, Dugan tumbler. This is a very unusual tumbler. It's just a plain marigold luster rose, but it was painted and iridized at the factory. It's the only one known, and it's probably an experimental piece. It's the only one that I feel might be the only one ever made. I think it's very pretty. Some luster rose tumblers are very common. Like the marigold and the helios and some of the others. But several colors are the only ones known. For example, the moonstone, which is over there, clambrose I didn't bring, the white, and the aqua. All of those are supposed to be only ones known. This one came from the Presnick Museum auction through John Rich. And the last one we'll talk about is the Pentonia fruit. Now both of those are Pentonia fruit. This is the only one known, but I'll qualify that in just a minute. I'll tell you another story. Both the Pentonia fruit and the Pentonia are found in blue and in marigold. The Pentonia fruit is much rarer than the Pentonia. Fortunate is the collector who owns one. The difference in the Pentonia fruit and the Pentonia is subtle, but the difference in price may be like $50 for the Pentonia and maybe $800 for the Pentonia fruit. The Pentonia fruit and the Pentonia have alternate diamonds with a spider web in them. The Pentonia fruit has a bunch of cherries in it, while the Pentonia has an embroidered design. It's the closest I can come to describing it. Recently, tumblers have brought increased prices, especially desirable ones. But as in any other Carnival Glass, common pieces have continued to be low in price. A large and pretty collection of tumblers can be put together at a reasonable cost. When we mention talking about people's vases and tumblers in the same program, folks consider this to be a bit disjointed. But keep in mind that I'm filling in for Richard's ponytail, and tumblers are all I know. That's the end of it, Richard. That's it. That's all. Wait, all about the ponytail. That's all we will do. I personally guarantee it. Anyway, people's faces are just simply big tumblers. So now I will turn the program back to the big tumbler collector.
Joyce, Cecil took a lot of time on them old tumblers. If you jump up here with that big old knife, be sure you whack around on her a little bit too. When Bob first asked me when I was going to talk on, I said, you know, I believe I will make my little speech on what we didn't sell and why. You know, we had an auction and we sold about half our glass. And I got to think about that. I got my big cheap tablet down in my old cedar pencil and started working on the speech. And I got to thinking, well, what had happened, Cecil had put out, divided the glass, and she said, now there's your part of the glass there, you have your auction. This part of the glass here we're not going to sell. If you know I'm already getting 3 alimony checks. If you sell this, I'm going to get 4. I'll try to whip through this pretty quick. Are we here? Are we getting back? In the back? Yeah. Huh? Yes. Okay. We'll go through these. So with that in mind, that I couldn't talk very long while I alimony check, I decided to take the piece of glass that's been most interesting to me through all my Carnival Glass collecting, and that's the great people's vase. There's a lot of mystique about these old vases. A lot of people seem to think that this is, you know, about the best piece of glass that was ever made. Certainly, it is a top rarity for a military bird. Without going into a lot of detail, it's a massive vase. You see 3 of them up there on the table. It takes a bunch of Amish people having a little shindig. With an old man standing on the side looking on. Sounds like something about like now. Anyway, it was reported that the Millersburg people had produced this old vase to commemorate the English people for having their little harvest festival at the end of the year. So at that time, and ever since, column vase, but the most commonly accepted name for it is a people's vase, and there are at this time 8 of them known. Don't count the last 2. There are 8 of them known, and they're certainly a beautiful piece of glass. My first experience with the people's vase was this amethyst one here that I bought at the Wishart auction in 1977. This was a fantastic auction. You think this was a long one today? I only take half the blame, all right? That auction had like 4,000 pieces of glass. It went for a couple of 2 or 3 days. And brought, was it 4 days that went, Tom? 3. And brought less than about $400,000. Think about that. That's been a heck of an auction. Anyway, I went to the auction. I just started collecting glass, and Tom Burns was very instrumental in me buying that vase. Tom was having John Woody third one that we required was this blue one. This blue one created quite a little controversy. It showed up in 1963 in Tulsa at a big show. I'm sure around Millersburg everybody knew what was going on, but this is the first one that appeared out in the art world. And Banquet Presentation, everybody kind of got excited about they didn't know who the maker was. So I thought it might have been foreign made, Benton, Imperial, the big glass makers. In fact, O.J. Olson reports talking to Frank Benton. Frank Benton said, no, it's not a big product. I've never seen a product that will prove honest to it. I'm sure if it had gotten around Millersburg, some of those people would have found out. But anyway, that first one, like I say, appeared in 1963. All these were appearing in the middle sections all about the same time, 3 or 4 of them here. Anyway, Jim Paul bought this. Woody rolled this around for a while, and finally Jim Paul bought it for $8,000 in 1973. And then in 1982, Paul had another auction, and it went up for sale. Don Stated come by my house and said, "Woody, there's going to be another People's Face at an auction. Do you want to bid?" And I said, "No, I do not. I've got 2. I don't want another." He said, "Well, you better bid about $5,000 to protect the price of your other 2, which I did. I said, "Go ahead. I'll pay $8,000 for it. 5,000 won't get it. Go ahead and make that bid." About 2 days later, he knocked on the door, and there he stood with his face in his hand, which I didn't want, but I set it up there next to these other 2. And it was just kind of like a ugly woman that just inherited a whole bunch of money. All of a sudden, they look very good. The fourth one that showed up that was in my little carnival world was this marigold one. The marigold one showed up in 1965. It sold for the first time for $45. It went through a couple of auctions. Woody sold it at the color auction. The color auction had the color auction in '76, and Jim Paul bought it in '76. So for a while there, that made Paul have the blue one and the marigold at that time. And in later days, Paul sold that one to Jack Adams for $7,000. At one time, at a mall auction, Paul had a big auction, and these People's Faces, the marigold and the blue, were not in that auction. At this auction, there was a lot of big water sets, and I had bought a real super funky picture there. After the auction, I was out in the lobby, hanging on the payphone, trying to get a hold of my banker to cover a hot check I just given to Woody. And Paul walked up and said, "I've got 2 People's Faces I'll sell you. I'll sell you the marigold and the blue, both of them for $15,000. And I thought about Lois Clover, when she gave it, when opportunity knocks, grab the knocker. And I didn't do it. I let them get away. And then, as you say, Jack Adams bought that one, the marigold, and I later got the blue one in an auction. I don't know, after I had these 3, the blue and green and the amethyst, then I nearly went crazy of all frustrations in my life. This finding the marigold People's Face has been, I guess, one of the uppermost. I commissioned Tom Morty, and Tom can go 1,000 miles and back on a half a pizza. And we were looking hard for those things, and we couldn't seem to find one. We put so much pressure on old Jack We've got this one and this one. We got these two right here. In June of '96, myself and a group of friends were having a meeting in my home there in Houston. We were trying to figure out some way to put Bill Clinton in a picture. We were sitting there, and just shortly into that meeting, well, I got a telephone call. It was from Mr. Lambert, and he said, "You're Mr. Whitley?" I said, "Yes, that's true." He said, I've got a couple of people's faces. It's this one right here, and the one on the other side there. There's been a couple of people's faces show up, but I'm fixing to have an auction and sell these people's faces. And he described them to me as being amethyst with a flared top. And I said, "No, I don't. I'm not interested in bidding on them. I've got amethyst with a flared top." He said, "Well, don't you want to bid anyway and make old Rogers and Hamlet and some of the big boys squirm?" I said, "No, they got a way of making you squirm back for your dad at a future date. I don't think that I don't think we'll want to do that." So anyway, the rest is history. Rogers bought this one here, and Hamlet bought the one on the other side. Rogers is reported to be of a better color, but the problem is it's cracked. And somebody said that don't make it. There's no John kind of cracked too. That just make a real good pair. Anyway, you know what just blew my mind? These two vases have been in the house for 51 years. You know, with weddings, divorces, and birthday parties, and people coming and going, and the people dying, and the nest egg picker found them. And this is hard to do for me to understand how somebody would lay that long and not, stick his head up in the air every once in a while. But they did. This one here, this is the latest find right here. Stacy and I were going to have some fun with that. It's badly damaged. Here it is right here. It's a fantastically colored vase. Look at the iridescence on that. This is my blue one here, and it's the green one, and that's Stacy's there. It's a one of a kind. It's the only amethyst that's got a cylinder or cartridge type top. It is really a beautiful vase. Stacy and I were talking, and we were going to have a little fun and say that was kind of picked up in Hiroshima, and Harry Truman dropped a atom bomb over there. And some soldier brought it back in his little duffel bag and set it on his mantle in New York, and it sat there for many years. That's kind of a bad story to tell on such a beautiful vase. But it is damaged. But anyway, this one was found in a yard sale. This was found in a yard sale, and a guy put it on his mantle. It sat there for years and years. He was down at a bookstore and stumbled on one of Edward's books. I don't know where they had that thing sitting at. He must have been looking at antique books. He saw a picture of this. He went to an antique dealer, and they put it on and the antique dealer asked him to put it on eBay, which he did. Somebody called my house and said, "Look, it's on eBay." We don't watch eBay. But when I first looked at it, I thought it was blue. I mean, with all that iridescence, you didn't look at it, it looked blue. A couple of 2 or 3 days later,
donated to the club to be sold, and they're listed on your there's a list of the women go there. Anybody need a list? And can you pass those lists around if anybody wants? You didn't get a list, you want a list, there you are. So there's two of the original hand-painted things donated by Floyd and Cecil Whitley. And then there's last year or this year they made a red holly plate to commemorate Frank Benton's 85th birthday. And there's a whimsy made from that plate over there that Frank sent down to the club. They're donating that as a whimsy to the club. So those are there. And then there's a plate there which is made, I think, from Westmoreland old mold, and it was made, Fenton has a mold, it was made as being donated to the club also, a big chocolate with a good luck pattern on it. And then there's a photograph or a picture there that I had framed. It's a memorabilia type thing. It was made in 1970 something that shows John Woody, John Red Lucille, and there it is with the collier at an auction. And there's 3 or 4 other items. There's an item I think that Joe Carruthers placed in there for glass to buy or sell. So I picked out a glass collector's digest, and I thought, well, it would be kind of a thing for the collector, a little memorabilia thing that's been professionally put together and framed. So we're going to sell that also. So anyway, that's the roundup of the whimsies and things we're going to be selling this evening. So we'll turn it over to the professionals here and let them sell the whimsies for us. Anybody want a list? Gerald, would you help run whimsies around for us in the auction?
Is the one here in the middle? You don't mind these days. Oh, he's not even here. Son of a gun. God, I put one in there.
When you do buy something, please, you don't have to shout it. Please say your name loudly enough that I guess Ian can hear it.
Hey, by the way, is Mickey here or did he go home?
He had to go home.
He went home.
He had work.
Jim has kids and Mickey has. We had to go home, so we had Deb Hughes and Elvis out here with these, what is these?
So that's your last choice, is that what you're saying?
Ladies first. I don't want to hear it, lady.
Item number 1 is a blue twisted hem decorated pansies by Kate Flausch in a basket shape with a twisted hem. Who's okay? Charlie's got that. How's it going? What do you bid? How's it going? What do you bid? Hit about a deal, a bid, a deal, an apple, a deal, a deal, a deal, a bid, go. Hit about a bid, apple, one, and all. Go to the deal, bid, start a little bit of the 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, 30, a little bit of 30, I'm 30, I'm 30. I'm 25 here now, 30, 39, 35, 40, 40, 49, 45, 45, 59, 59, 55, 59, now 60, 60, 60, now 65, 65, 65, and 70, 70 now 80, at 70 now 80, I'm at 70, 80 now 90, 90 now 100 bid, 100 bid, 100 bid, 100 bid, 100 now 110, 100 now 110, 120 now 120 now 130 now 130 now 130 now 130 now 130, 130, 130, 130, 130, 130, 130, sold in 120.
Yell out your name.
I can't see without your watch.
I'll trade places. Here's your list. I yell.
violet or votive light plum opal jack in the pulpit made from the 1997 table paper. I'm going, what do you mean? I'm going, what do you mean? People say, well, a little bit to the vibe, a little bit of team go, a little bit of the team, 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 at 25 started, at 25, a little bit of the vibe, a little bit of the vibe, a little bit of the vibe, 25, a little bit, now 25, now 25, and 35, and 35, and 35, and 35, and 35. I'll be 25, now, 35, now, 35, now, 35, now, 35, now, 35, 35, 45, 45, 45, 55, 55, 55, 55, now, 65, now, 65, now, 65, now, 65, now, 65, now, 65, 65, 65, 65, 65. Told him $55. Very cool. All right. Number 4 is an happy heart-shaped painted pansies decorated by M. Reynolds. So no, we can hit the 75, Andrew Flake, painted daisies decorated by Steve Williams. Williams.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe decorated it with a motorcycle here.
Start along, we did. Start along, we did. Okay, and we're on number 6. Hobnail basket sapphire made from the 1995 room display, decorated by J.K. Swin and Spindle. So there it is, we did. There it is, we did. 10% about a little bit of a little bit of tingo, a little bit of 50 now 75. I'm at 50 now 60, 50 bit now 60, a little bit of 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 60, 50 bit now 60 dollar bit, 60 dollar bit, 60 dollar bit, 60 dollar bit, 60 dollar bit. Total $50.
Don't start me. We didn't know of that today, all right?
We need a name. Ruth Harrington. Okay. The plate and light painted pansies decorated by M. Reynolds. Up and going, what do you bid? Up and going, what do you bid? Hit $100, capital one, one, flip the tingo, flip the tingo, now 50, now 60. 50, now 60, now 70, flip the 60, flip the 60, flip the 60, now 80, now 80, now 90. 80, now 90, flip the 90, flip the 90, flip the 90, flip the 90, 80, flip now $90 bid, $90 bid, $90 bid, $90 now, $100 bid, now 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 $100 bid, $100 bid, 100, 100 now 110, 100 now 110. So let's see it over here. I'm at 100 now 110, we'll put it in, now 110 now 120, 110 now 120, we'll put it on 1, put it on 1, put it on 20, 110 bid now 120, 120, 130, 130, 130, 130, 140, 140, 140, 140, 140, 140 now 50 now 50 now 160, now 160 now 160 now 160 now 160, 160, 160, 160. So 150, red zone.
Hey, just to remind you people, you never get anything